Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Countdown to Infinity. We are getting real close here, folks. This is episode 17, where today we will be talking about Thor Ragnarok. I am James, and I am joined by Matt, as always. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
I am doing very well. This is it. We're on the home stretch. We record the last week we doubled up and recorded both Guardians 2 and Spider-Man. Today is Tuesday while we're recording. We are doing Thor Ragnarok, and then right afterwards we're going to record the Black Panther episode, which means we're done watching Marvel movies until Infinity War. The next Marvel movie you and I watch, Matt, is going to be Infinity War.
That's what you think. I'm doing an entire Marvel movie marathon again before Infinity War comes out.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I have maybe thought about trying to do that again. I have maybe just for a moment entertained the idea of trying to watch all 18 of these movies again in the next week in like 4 days.
Yeah.
3 days. 2 days. 2 days. There's like 9 days. Like 9 days from now, you will be on a ferry boat. And you will be coming here, and we will be watching what we have been building towards this for the last few months. And I am so freaking excited.
Me too.
Holy hell!
I'm very
like
hyped.
just saying something as silly as the next Marvel movie we're gonna watch is Infinity War. Like, it gives me chills. I love it. I love how much I love these stupid, dumb movies.
But they're not stupid, dumb movies. They're great, dumb movies.
They are great, dumb movies. They're just silly movies that make me very happy. And you know which one makes me just smile ear to ear is Thor Ragnarok. I don't 100% know where I'm going to place it on my list. It's not going to be number one, but holy hell, does this movie make me just smile and laugh more than any other MCU film, I think.
Cool.
Like, just from the very beginning of him in the cage doing the "you wonder how I got here," it's just, I just love it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves really quickly. Let's chat about all the other stuff about this movie. Like, hey, it came out in 2017. It was the last movie that came out in 2017. It was November.
Really? There were no other movies that came out in 2017 after Thor Ragnarok?
No, this was it.
There were no
Thor
other
Ragnarok,
movies.
And they were just like, what's the point?
Yeah, we may as well give up now.
Yeah, exactly. So came out November. We've got all of our good friends back in what you would expect the Thor movie to have, plus some fun extras. So you've got Chris Hemsworth, you've got Tom Hiddleston back, you've got Idris Elba back. For a brief amount of time, you've got Anthony Hopkins back.
Yep. But
then you also, of course, have Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. You have Carl Urban, who I legitimately love in this movie. You've got Cate Blanchett, who, not the best villain, but goddamn, she is badass in this movie.
She's just gnawing on scenery all the way through the film.
She's phenomenal. And then we've got Jeff Goldblum, and finally Tessa Thompson, who is also just remarkable. Everybody is just really good in this movie. It just felt like everybody was having fun making this movie, which always feels good. And of course, you can't forget about Waititi, who directed the film and was actually in the film. Because he voices
Korg.
What's his name? Yeah, Korg, who is awesome. I love just Korg so much. Like, he's so good. Is he supposed to be in Infinity War? He must be.
I mean, he must appear, if only briefly.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't die.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, in 9 days. The movie made a whole bunch of money, $854 million.
That's a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, it cost them $180 million. 2 hour and 10-minute runtime. For me, it moves at a really brisk pace. I personally never felt like it dragged. I do know that I feel like there were people who would disagree with me.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, that's why I thought I remembered you being one of those people. I didn't want to just call you out.
That's all right. I'll
throw
myself under the bus.
Yeah, for me, it's fantastic. It sort of it takes elements from Planet Hulk,
Yes.
which is obviously how you incorporate the Hulk into a Thor movie, which is, I think, very well. It was done very well in this film. If we're not going to get a standalone Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie, and this is the closest we're gonna get, then I guess I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I would still love to see a standalone Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie, but I just feel like maybe we're unfortunately past it.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely to ever occur at this point.
Yeah, which is too bad. Because otherwise, like, the only way I think you could do it at this point is by like doing like an origin story again, and that doesn't work at all.
No, there are a bunch of good like standalone Hulk stories.
Yeah,
like there are plenty of things they could do with it, but it's just like the rights issues that are associated with trying to do such a movie are problematic.
Yeah,
and so it's easier to just sort of roll them into other people's films.
Yeah, I think at this point, we don't. So we know that after Infinity War, we've got Captain Marvel, so brand new property, brand new hero. That's great.
Yeah.
We have Guardians 3, which I'm very interested in, because obviously what Guardians 3 looks like is going to be heavily impacted by whatever the heck happens in Infinity War and and the fourth Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Because we won't see this until both of those are done. And then we also have the follow-up to Spider-Man, which, again, really any movie after this, after Infinity War, is just going to be so heavily influenced, unless you do something like Captain Marvel,
and said it in the past.
And you said it in the past, or you introduce new heroes that exist outside of the overarching MCU, like they did with Guardians, right? Like when Guardians came out, it was easy to not have to really worry about bringing them into the MCU because they were in, space.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very easy. So my guess is, for a lot of the heroes that make it through the next two Avengers movies, if we do see them again, it will probably not be in standalone films.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that point.
I don't think we're going to ever get the Hulk movie. I don't think we're going to get a fourth Iron Man movie. I don't think we're going to get another Captain America movie ever. I don't think we're going to honestly get another Thor movie. So
yeah, well,
and that's okay.
I'm still holding out hope that we will get another Captain America movie, but it won't be about Steve Rogers.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Steve and Bucky can ride off into the sunset together. Agent 13 can go too, and Sam can take up the shield and carry on the mantle, and that would be fine. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's dive into this one. What happens in Thor Ragnarok, Matt?
So Thor Ragnarok. A couple of years have passed since the events of the Sokovia, the events in the Battle of Sokovia. Thor, as you may recall, in Age of Ultron, sort of hecked off and was like, well, you guys are being jerks, and I gotta go because there are these Infinity Stone things, and I need to go looking for them. So he went off, he did that. He has been doing that for a while, but in his various adventures somewhat unsuccessful adventures across the galaxy, he has learned that the events of Ragnarok are about to occur. So he goes hunting for, following the legends, he goes hunting for Surtur, who is the fire god that's supposed to bring Ragnarok and the destruction of Asgard, to defeat him, and he does. And he hauls Surtur's crown back to Asgard, and upon his arrival, discovers that things are not quite how he expected them to be. Odin is acting a little weird, and there's a play being reenacted about the heroic sacrifice of Loki during the events of Thor 2. And so he calls Loki out on the fact that Loki is standing in for Odin. Loki reveals that, in fact, he has been standing in for Odin, and Thor basically is like, all right, where the heck's our dad? What did you do to him? they end up going to Earth, where they meet up with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is like, all right, well, if you got to get Loki off the planet. He's an existential threat to Earth. Why would you bring him here? What's wrong with you? And Thor says, well, I'm looking for our dad. So Doctor Strange is like, all right, I'll help you. He's in Norway. They go to Norway. They find Odin, and Odin bids them farewell. He's ready to die, and he knows at this point, having been away from Asgard, that with his power dwindling, that as soon as he passes away, his firstborn, Hela, goddess of death, will be released from her banishment and will come to Asgard to wreak destruction upon it, and to sort of like take her place upon the throne of Asgard. So Odin dies. Hela shows up on Earth right where Thor and Loki are. She breaks Thor's hammer, and Thor and Loki try to jump back to Asgard. Loki calls on Heimdall to open the Rainbow Bridge to Asgard, and Thor realizes that this is a mistake because, of course, if Hela gets to Asgard, she'll become more powerful. So they end up having a fight on the, why can I not think of the name of the bridge? What's the bridge? Bifrost. Thank you. They end up having a... I know.
I was going to call you out so bad at the end of your recap and being like, Rainbow Bridge, Matt.
Well,
really?
that's what it is, but
Bridge?
I was struggling to remember the name. But yes, you're right, it's Bifrost. Sometimes words fall out of my head. I'm sorry. You may have noticed from time to time. So anyhow, they get in a fight. Hela, being more powerful than either Thor or Loki, knocks them both from the slipstream or the wormhole they're on, and they get scattered to the galaxy, and they wake up on Sakaar. Thor specifically wakes up on Sakaar after he's dropped unceremoniously into a pile of garbage. He gets up, he's confronted by a bunch of scrappers, and they try to capture him. And as they're capturing him, another person shows up, and she tells them all, this one's mine. Sorry, you're going to have to go through me if you want him. A fight breaks out. She vaporizes them all with a blaster on her ship and then proceeds to kidnap Thor herself. She hauls him into the palace of the Grandmaster, where she turns him over into the Grandmaster's custody. And the Grandmaster, it turns out, it runs like a gladiatorial combat ring, and he thinks that Thor will make a great new fighter. So they prep Thor for fighting. They send Thor into the ring to face the Grandmaster's champion. He meets Korg in the dungeon along the way, and upon the reveal of who the champion is, it's none other than your incredible Hulk. And this pleases Thor because Thor knows who the Hulk is. But it turns out that the Hulk is not as keen to see Thor as Thor is to see the Hulk, and they continue to fight. Hulk wants his gladiatorial win. They basically fight each other to a standstill. At which point the Grandmaster immobilizes Thor when it looks like he's about to win, and he wakes up in the Hulk's room, basically. So they get to talking now that they're not fighting. The Hulk can talk a bit now, and it turns out that the Hulk came to Sakaar on a Quinjet, because he took off in a Quinjet at the end of Age of Ultron, and somehow it ended him up here. So Thor's like, all right, well, we got to get back to Asgard to stop my sister Hela, because she's gonna murder all the Asgardians and then possibly the rest of the galaxy. And so he tries to find out where the Quinjet is. He basically hatches a plan to escape. He makes his way to the Quinjet. Upon the Quinjet, he finds the recording of Black Widow talking to Hulk from the end of Age of Ultron, just in time for the Hulk to show up and wreck the Quinjet. But then he sees the recording of Black Widow and accidentally detransforms himself back into Bruce Banner. So at this point, the Hulk is no longer the Hulk. Bruce now basically wants to stay Bruce because he's been the Hulk for 2 years and is feeling a little out of control. But they have managed to enlist the aid of the scrapper that kidnapped Thor, who was Valkyrie. So Tessa Thompson's character is actually Asgardian herself. They figure out a plan, or they realize that they are all going to work together to head back to Asgard. So they hatch a plan to steal the Grandmaster's ship and fly through the biggest wormhole on the planet, which I believe is called the Devil's Anus, and take that, which will get them back to Asgard, where they can stop Hela. So they do this. Loki gets on board. Loki has worn out his favor with the Grandmaster at this point, so he joins them, and they basically succeed in taking this spaceship, but not before Loki betrays them. But this time, Thor's prepared for Loki's betrayal, and he manages to immobilize him and leave him behind. So Thor and Valkyrie and the Hulk head off to Asgard. They arrive. Things are looking pretty dire. Hela has gotten very powerful and grows more powerful by the day. Heimdall has managed to secure the remaining Asgardians in a fortress, but Hela is moving on them and ready to come and find them and kill them all. Throughout the confrontation between Hela and Thor, we learn that in fact Asgard was basically built on a history of conquest that had been that Odin had sort of whitewashed away. He and Hela had gallivanted around the galaxy, conquering worlds and adding them to their empire, only for Odin to sort of lose his stomach for it when she got more powerful and more avarice with regards to conquest, and that's when he banished her away, and then he sort of like covered up that aspect of Asgardian history. So anyhow, they fight. Hela's Asgardian minion Scourge ultimately turns on her in an attempt to rescue the other all of the like Asgardian refugees. And there's a pretty cool fight scene on the Bifrost again, as the heroes are all trying to stop Hela and her army of undead Asgardians from killing all the refugees and preventing them from escaping. Thor also realizes that the only way to save Asgard at this point is not to stop its destruction, but to cause it. And so he tasks Loki with unleashing Surtur on Asgard to destroy it, because Asgard being the source of Hela's power, if Asgard, the city, is destroyed, then Hela will lose her power and won't be able to, wage conquest across the galaxy. So they do that. Asgard's destroyed, but Thor takes his place as the leader of the remaining Asgardians, knowing that Asgard's not a place, but a people, and that he's going to find a place for them all to resettle. He kind of more or less makes up with Loki, and they lead the remaining Asgardians into space. The end.
Yeah, that's about it. You nailed it.
Yeah, that's more or less it.
You nailed it.
There, now you don't need to watch it. Congratulations.
I think people generally watch these movies and then listen to this podcast.
I imagine that's probably the case. I hope that's the case.
I assume that's the case, but who knows?
Can you imagine?
There might be some.
Can you imagine if there's like one person out there who has never watched a Marvel movie and still hasn't, but has been listening through all these and is taking my descriptions of the events of the films as the like, all right, cool, now I'm ready to go see Infinity War. I know that everything that's happened in these movies.
I mean, that sounds like something I would do. I'm the guy who never watched a single episode of Breaking Bad and then watched the series finale. Like, I had no idea what was going on, but I was like, I want to be a part of this cultural phenomenon, damn it.
Well, that was like
so
you didn't watch any of the Harry Potter films until the last one came out, and then we did a marathon of all the Harry Potter films in one night, so that you could go see the last one. But yeah,
well, it wasn't one night. It was over the course of like a week or something like that. But that's like a normal thing. Well, a normal, I'm air quoting there, thing to do. Watching the series finale
of a 10-year-long 18-film movie franchise.
It was If anybody out there is doing that, please be honest and tweet at me or leave a comment, because I want to just you are my hero.
Also, probably tweet at me so I can apologize.
Oh, that would be fantastic. All right. So, we know what happened. We know who's in it. Let's talk about this movie.
Sure.
I like this movie a lot.
I gathered.
Yeah. So, this is, I think, probably one of the... Do you think this movie... Let's just kick this off. I want to know your opinion on this one. Is this movie too goofy? Does this movie have too many little gags that intend to make people laugh?
If you had asked me that question prior to rewatching it, my answer would have been like Windmill Slam, yes.
Okay. So what changed between then and having now just watched it again the other day?
Okay, so that's actually a pretty big question. So the first time I watched this movie, I was quite frustrated by it. There's a lot of stuff I like in this movie. So it's frustration, not dislike. But like I really like Taika Waititi's humor. Like, his humor is really charming and endearing and hilarious. Like, I like it a lot. And like everybody's performances in this movie are top tier. The production design for this movie is top tier. Like it's easily one of the best looking films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, easily one of the best looking films.
Absolutely.
And like, there's so much good going on in this movie, but one of the things that frustrated me about it was that it also is one of the biggest status quo shakeups in the MCU to date. Like, this is actually a really important film for the development of characters and the landscape of the universe in which these movies take place. And I felt upon watching it the first time that the humor too often undercut the drama, and the result was that the film didn't actually pay quite enough respect to the amount of like alteration to the universe that it was making. It didn't pay enough respect to its own character development. It didn't pay enough respect to like an entire realm is wiped from existence in this film, and the movie basically laughs it off. And so that like that bothered me. But
okay,
let's come around. Sorry.
Sure.
Upon rewatching it, I've actually softened on that opinion a lot. There is a lot of comedy in this movie, and I really like the comedy, and I think it's funny. There is a lot of drama in this movie, and I actually think that drama is better served than I gave it credit for the first time. I think like the movie actually separates its comedy and its drama better than it sat with me the first time. That like on rewatching it, I actually did feel like the character development and the status quo shakeup and so on were served well by this movie. So I like now I actually think maybe not. Like, it does feel very goofy, but it's actually a better balance of goof and like space opera than I originally thought. I think it threw me the first time because of the tonal difference. And I still feel like it's a little tonally inconsistent, but it's a better rounded film than I gave it credit for in the first place.
That's fair. I mean, I think I was in the same boat as you. I remember leaving the theater it's nice to be able to remember leaving the theater. It was hard to do that for the first few movies that we did this podcast for, because it was so long ago. I remember leaving the theater, smiling, and that's sort of my baseline for these movies. Because I've never not left the theater smiling after a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I think at the time, I, to a degree, agree with you. I think the thing that really sort of was off-putting to me when I saw it for the first time was how different Thor felt. Compared to what I was used to.
Yeah.
He just feels like a very, very different person. And I'm not saying that's bad. And it's important for characters to feel different, because different means that they are growing. And whether they are growing in the right direction or wrong direction, it doesn't really matter as long as they are growing.
Right.
And when I say direction, I mean the choices that they make are either good or bad or whatever. I'm not saying like retreating and hiding in a character that we've known for a bunch of movies and just don't care about anymore because they're boring.
Yeah, they're making choices that follow from where the character has been and where the character is going.
Yeah, because we see Thor, because what we don't get is we don't get Thor and we don't get Hulk at the end during Civil War. Both of them are not around, which means the last time we saw these two was Age of Ultron.
Yes.
So it's been a while, and at least with the Hulk, you can kind of fall back on, well, he's been inside the Hulk for 2 years, and clearly that's going to change him. But with Thor, all we kind of have to go on is after the events of Age of Ultron, he took off looking for the Infinity Stones without much luck, and now he just feels like a much more laid back.
Yeah.
Much more willing to sort of be a goofball.
Yes.
And I remember that being just kind of like, this is weird. I like it. I think I like it, but this is kind of weird. And to the point about humor versus drama, I do feel like this movie does a really good job of leaving the humor more or less at the door in the final act. It is a very, very humorous first and second act.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of jokes. There are a lot of visual gags and silly dialogue, and just it almost uncharacteristically silly, but it still works. And then once we get to Asgard, and once we're into the final act, and once we're into that battle with Hela, more or less that goes away.
Yeah.
And the weight is there. It feels like, okay, we were kidding around and having fun for the first 2/3, but now we got to buckle down and figure this out, because this is a big deal. Like that, there's a lot on the line here. And I think they did a good job of saying, okay, all those silly goofs and gags and jokes can take a back seat for now, and we're going to deal with what is ultimately the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah, we've had our fun. Let's do our world
stuff.
building now.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was kind of cool. Man, that might have been like the best conversation we've ever had.
Yeah. But
I felt like we were both articulate and made good points. We're getting good at this.
It only took us 17 episodes to get there, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I feel like we're good to go. Oh, wait, we're done next week.
Yeah.
This is awkward. Yeah. So what else should we chat about with this one? Do you like Hela as the bad guy here?
Yes.
Is she doing anything particularly interesting, or
she's got a great hat?
She's got a great hat. So Cate Blanchett just kills this role, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
She's fantastic, and she clearly is just having fun with it, and it just feels really good. Like, you really feel like she's ready to just get what needs to be done.
Yes.
Which feels really good.
Yeah.
She doesn't screw around. She doesn't monologue. She just does what she needs to do.
Yeah. She's fun. She's menacing, but she's like menacing in a really fun, I said scenery chewing, like Cate Blanchett is clearly having a lot of fun in the role. I think that's one of the things I really like about this movie is that it is apparent that every single person involved is having the time of their life making it.
Yeah.
And that really comes through this movie, where just like everybody is having such a great time that it almost goes over the top, like beyond its ability to take itself seriously because everybody's having too much fun. But it again, it's that really charming, really like affable sense. Even the villain is like, I'm super into this. This is great. She's so likable as she's like murdering most of a civilization. And I liked that there was, I liked that they dug into her motivation a little bit, and that we talk a little bit about the history of Asgard and the this idyllic civilization that's sort of always been cast to us in these movies so far as like, well, they're the Norse gods because they came and protected Earth back when humans were Vikings, and they were these mystical people that kept us safe from frost giants. But actually, there's like a dark side to that, and like this underbelly, which they sort of started to brush against with the second Thor movie, where it was like, well, we've got these dark elves who were vanquished by Odin. And then this time around, it's like, oh yeah, Odin just like swept across the galaxy, just conquering planets, and then felt bad about it and didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah, I like that. It's some good stuff, and we're gonna kind of definitely deal with that again in the next movie.
Yes, there are some similar, there are definitely similar themes between the two movies.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of family drama, really.
Yes.
It's just a lot of sit down, have a cup of tea, and chat. And I think we could condense all of these movies into like 3 or 4 flicks instead of 19, is what I'm saying. I think we could probably do a much better job.
Yeah.
When it comes to friendships and communications.
Yeah.
Because that would be great. You talked pretty briefly about the look of this movie, how it's one of the best. I actually think it is the best looking MCU film. It is vibrant. Everything just feels alive.
Yep.
I mean, the planet of Sakaar is just phenomenal. Everything from just the piles of garbage to the massive arena to the tower that
with the Grandmaster's tower.
Yeah, the Grandmaster's tower with all of his champions' heads on them.
One of whom is Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, one of whom is Beta Ray Bill. And they've just consistent. It honestly, it makes me sad that Asgard is gone, because I think they kept getting better and better at making that place look cooler and cooler.
Yeah.
And it's too bad that we'll who knows? We might see it again, but it's too bad that it got blowed up because it's a very pretty place.
Yeah, I imagine when they settle in Norway, that we'll get like a mini Asgard on Earth, probably.
That's cute that you think that they're gonna get to Earth.
Well, I mean that's true, but I imagine we'll see like a mini Asgard at some point in the future. But this movie definitely makes me excited for the prospect of seeing other worlds as we continue to branch out. Like they've pinned down the cosmic so well at this point that it's like, okay, cool, everything we're gonna see from now on is gonna just be rad.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a perfect example of years of world building, of taking from the Earth-based MCU and the cosmic-based MCU, whether that be Guardians of the Galaxy or Doctor Strange for that matter.
Yeah.
And who plays a role in this film and a really great little cameo.
Yep.
This is, I would say, this is the kind of thing that I would love to see moving forward. I don't necessarily need there to be two or three established characters in these movies. I think it probably works better. I think the team up of Thor and Hulk, and to a degree Loki, worked incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I think just these little tie-ins, right? Just these one little scene, that took up 3 or 4 minutes of screen time.
Not a lot of screen time. It's just hey, this guy
but
knows who we are and where we're going and can help us on the way.
And it's just, I love how just instantaneous what's going on when they're standing on the street corner outside of the old folk home that Loki left Odin at.
Yeah.
And the circle starts appearing under him. And for anybody who had seen Doctor Strange knew immediately that that's what that was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a surprise. It's just oh shit, we're gonna see Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange and Kick-Ass, and this is great.
Well, now Kick-Ass is a Vision comic, not a Marvel.
Sorry. I apologize.
Actually,
you will not see Kick-Ass.
It might be Image now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah.
But just, it's a great scene. You can just tell that enough time has passed. Because there's no real easy way of telling where, in sort of the timeline, as far as I know, that this actually is.
Right.
In regards to where are we from the end of Doctor Strange? Because he is just so clearly more comfortable in his role.
Yeah, I mean,
now,
we know it's some point after the end of Doctor Strange because he put on gloves.
Yes. Well, he put on gloves, and again, it's just he just carries that role so well in just, again, that one pretty brief scene that you're just okay.
Yeah.
I know that when we see him again next in Infinity War, that he's going to kick some serious ass.
Yeah. Because he's super confident in what he's doing now and can do it without even really thinking.
Yeah. And that's great because I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Who else do we got in this movie? We got Jeff Goldblum.
Very funny.
Playing the role of the Grandmaster. A lot of people will sort of liken him to the Collector.
Yeah, well, they're brothers. Canonically, they're brothers. So,
are they canonically brothers in the MCU though?
Yes.
Have they actually established that, or have they just been they're brothers?
I'm pretty sure just word of God, they're brothers.
Okay, I am quite okay with word of God, they're brothers. I would love to see those two meet up.
Yes.
And hang out together, because I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that might be an adventure.
I would just go see that movie. If you just made Grandmaster and the Collector, I would see that movie. I think that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
All
right.
One of the things I really like in this movie is that, so it's funny. It actually strikes me as a little funny that they did this in this movie, but this is the third Thor movie, right? We've seen Thor in the past 2 movies, and he's been Thor doing Thor things, using lightning and being the god of thunder and flying around fighting dudes in Thor ways. And then we get to this movie and they pull Mjolnir, the hammer. Yeah, that was just your magic feather, man.
Yeah.
The power's been inside you all along. And he proceeds to they completely change the visual effect for it with the lightning eyes and so on going on, and he just becomes a Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
He just suddenly his fighting is way cooler, and he is actually in control of the lightning and the thunder and is way more badass than he has been in the last 2 movies. And now I kind of feel robbed by the last 2 movies. I want this Thor to be fighting those fights. But it just started, it's they took 3 movies to reveal that he was just Dumbo.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, but I do really like it. Does lead to one of the easily the coolest fight scene in any of the Thor movies to date. With that whole like final fight on the bridge, and the like, little slow-mo cuts and the lightning and him actually like, it feels like he grew into his powers at last.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that you're just rocking out to Zeppelin as well.
Well, I mean, that doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean the fight scenes in this movie are pretty legit. Like the arena fight near the beginning with the Hulk is obviously fantastic.
Yes.
And a lot of fun. And yeah, the fight at the end, Heimdall is awesome as always every time. Yeah, it's just a really fun movie.
Yeah.
So many cool little bits and bobs.
Yep.
Bits and babs.
Valkyrie's great. Looking forward to Valkyrie coming back.
Yeah, Valkyrie's great. And as I said at the top of the show, Carl Urban, who plays Scourge,
also great.
Is it Scourge?
It's
yeah,
Scourge.
Scourge. Yeah, he's a really good character. I like having that little mini character arc in this kind of movie where he goes from just this guy who found an opportunity because presumably I assume he knew that what was going on with Loki, maybe, or at least enough to a point where like Odin told him don't let Thor back in, and he was okay with that.
Yeah, he was just some rent-a-cop like security guard posted at Heimdall's old post.
Yeah, but you also you get this because you know that he knew Thor because he talks about how he fought alongside him in a battle, and that sort of triggered a memory of Thor enough to be like, oh yeah, sure, I remember you.
See, I read that scene as kind of like a random private in a fight that Captain America was in, where it's like, oh, I fought alongside you at Omaha Beach, and like Cap being like, I mean, Cap would never do that. Cap, of course, being the character he is, would, sit down and talk to the guy. But the same kind of like, sure, I remember you. Like, Thor's the big iconic guy in that fight, and Scourge is probably some mook over there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But it's still like, and he's given another opportunity with Hela, and he takes it because this is just the kind of guy who he is.
Yeah, well, he's a coward, obviously.
Yeah, he is. He's a coward, and he just wants to live. And, you can't really blame the guy. Fight or flight.
Yeah.
And this is just a decision that he makes, and you can tell that he regrets it every step of the way. Like, you just can see it. Like, he just does a really great job of just acting this character to the point where you can see it in his eyes. Every scene he is in, he's just unhappy. He knows that he is doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, he feels bad about it, obviously.
Yeah, he's just doing it to survive.
Yeah.
And he gets his redemption at the end, which is great. And, not before trying to be kind of a douche and sneak onto the ship with a really terrible disguise. Like, by no means should have that worked.
Yeah.
Like, he literally just put a cloak over his head, didn't really even hide his face. And we're talking about a guy who, like, actually just straight up murdered people in front of, like, most all of Asgard.
Yeah, like, that through that entire little redemption bit, I'm like, there's no way you're coming back from this, man. It doesn't matter if you, like, sneak on board or, save the day. You've been executing as guardians in public. They're not gonna accept you back.
But he knows that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think he absolutely knows that when he jumps out of the ship with his guns that apparently never need to be reloaded.
Until they do.
Until they do. And it's just a great shot. There's a lot of just really great shots in this. The scene where Loki gets in the Valkyrie's head, and you see the battle with Hela.
Oh my god!
The battle that's literally one of the most gorgeous things that exists in the MCU when it comes to just these shots.
Oh yeah,
like,
it looks like a painting. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to mimic a painting and tell a story, and it does it beautifully. Like it's just jaw-dropping. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
All right. What about let's do some goofs and nitpicks.
Goofs.
The goofs are hard because, as we said,
there are
as
a
we
lot
talked
of them.
about, there are a lot of goofs.
Piss off, Ghost.
Yeah, so Piss Off Ghost is honestly one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Thor throwing the ball at the window and it coming back and just smoking him.
That one's good.
That one's really good, and I like that a lot.
Another day, another Doug.
Another day, another Doug. I love. I mean, it's it's definitely pandering to the audience, but the little bit that he and Loki do, I can't remember what they call it. Is it like the help me or?
Oh yeah, the get help, get help.
The get help, yeah, where he walks in. Get help, my brother's been hurt, and just throws Loki at the guys. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
That's very silly, but
the conversation
I like
leading into it is good. I like that as the payoff, though. Like, the throwing Loki is great because the whole setup for that scene is that is how get help works. Like, they don't ever go through with the getting the help. They just throw Loki. Oh, man, what else is there? There's, oh yeah, Meek's dead.
Yeah,
I just felt so bad about it that I
stepped on him on the bridge and squished him and just felt so bad. I've been carrying around and then just wakes up. Oh, Meek's alive.
That one's really good. Oh man, okay. I'm clearly Korg being the like comic relief character is high on the list, but it's like, hey man, do you want this bundle of pointy sticks? And it's like no. It's like, yeah, I guess it wouldn't be very useful unless you were like fighting 3 vampires and they were close together.
Yeah, they were all huddled up together.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
Man, the the entire play.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Matt Damon.
Matt Damon and Liam Hemsworth and Sam Neill.
Right, Sam Neill. I knew it was Matt Damon and so
it is Liam Hemsworth, really right? I know it's
plays,
like his brother, but
Luke Hemsworth.
Right. Okay, yeah, the other brother.
Yeah, so it's Sam Neill who plays Odin, Luke Hemsworth, brother of Chris who plays Thor, which is just amazing.
Really
and
good.
Then just randomly Matt Damon, who arguably is like a bigger actor than anybody else in this movie, with the exception of maybe Anthony Hopkins, is just in terms of like longevity and length of time. But Matt Damon is just this massive movie star, and he's just this random, like, it's just such a random thing for him to do. Is to play Loki in the play scene. Yeah, like,
but it's really funny.
It's really good. It's fantastic. No, it's really good.
Oh man, the Doctor Strange bit. So of course there's the like jumping around and Thor leaning against things while they're jumping and having the thing be in a different place every time he lands. And then also the I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Oh man, I can't pick a favorite. Are you kidding me? The jokes are also good.
Yeah, it's just a really damn funny movie. You got any nitpicks?
I mostly went over them.
I mean, that's some pretty. I want some nitpicks, Matt. I want some like
real nitpicks,
inconsequential BS that doesn't actually have anything to do with anything. It's just like, well, this was silly.
Okay, nitpick the first. I was not crazy. This is actually a little bigger. This is not inconsequential. But I'm actually not crazy about Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner in this movie. He's got a weird effect going on, and I guess it's because he's been the Hulk for so long, and he's just like having trouble getting back to normalize, but I just don't like it. I don't like it very much.
That's fair. I think it would.
I found him grating.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it would have been better if we had been given a little bit more time. If either they had spent less time sort of letting him acclimatize back to Banner, or just giving us more time with that character.
Yeah.
Like giving him more time in Banner to again get back to normal. Because I agree. I think, yeah, he never really feels quite right. But I guess the argument can be made that Hulk is the character here that really matters of the two.
Yes.
Like, it's not about Bruce, and I think it'll probably
it is a little bit about Bruce, because this leads into my second nitpick, which is the reuse of the falling out of the thing joke.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking. What movie was it that we talked about this at?
Well, the original Hulk film,
the original Hulk,
very
right,
second movie when he jumps out of the helicopter to sacrifice himself and then smashes into the pavement, and they redo it in this one. Slightly different execution, and like I'm just a little annoyed that they redid the joke. I actually like this joke in like as it is presented in this movie. But it definitely, like, that is one of the jokes that definitely undercuts character development a bit, because, like, the whole thing they build up to is, like, well, if I turn back into the Hulk, I may never be able to turn back into Banner again, because I don't have my hands on the wheel when I'm in the Hulk, and then he spends a lot of this movie, like, basically being used by Thor. Thor's not super nice to him in this movie, but at the end, he's like, well, for the greater good, this is important. You know, I need to save all these people, and the only way I can do that is to like Hulk out. All right, let's do this. And he does, and then slams into the bridge. But then, like, they at least all, like, immediately, with even less of a beat than in The Incredible Hulk, they turn it around and give him his hero moment. Because, like, it's just like, kaboom, long enough for it to register and for you to laugh. And then he turns around and like Rex, I can't remember the name of the dog, but
big
like
doggo,
the big
doggo,
Fluffersons. Yeah, Rex his day, and
I mean, yeah, I think it was used less to a humor. I mean, The Incredible Hulk is not a particularly funny movie.
No,
but it does not feel like, I mean, this is something we talked about at the time when we were recording. It just, the biggest issue that we both had with that movie is it just kind of doesn't feel like an MCU film.
Right.
And I never felt like that jumping out of the helicopter was anything more than just what needed to happen. Whereas this one, it did feel a little shoehorned. It felt like it was just a joke because, you know, I was just talking earlier about the fact that, you know, they more or less, you know, put the jokes in the back seat for that third act, especially the final fight, with the exception of, you know, this and maybe one or two other things, this being the big one. But it does fall a little flat. See what I did there. When it's just like, I feel like we've reached a point with Thor where he is more like, I guess I just want, or not Thor, I just want to be at a point where Banner has control of the Hulk.
And I think we're getting there.
And Hulk, but I think we should have just been there here.
Yeah, like, that maybe.
I think we've had enough Hulk at this point. Like, we basically got that glimpse during the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, with one of the best all-time scenes when he comes back into New York and he's like, now would be a good time for you to get angry. And he's like, that's my secret. I'm always angry. Turns around, hulks out, smashes the crap out of the giant thing. And it's just like, hell yes. That is the Hulk that I think this film series needs. And they always kind of they kind of retracted from that.
Yeah, they stepped away from the edge on that a bit.
And I just think we've reached a point where it's time we have that Hulk.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner should have control of the Hulk, and the Hulk should have control of the Hulk.
Yeah, and like
right?
my hope is that we're going to be there for Avengers 3, because I feel like the way it works, like the way I read the Hulk through these movies is like in the Incredible Hulk, well, his only option was basically to get angry, right? Like whenever he got his heart rate too high or was angry or got hurt or whatever, he would Hulk out and he would have no control over it. And he would just like Hulk out over whatever the heck was angering him at the time. And then you get to the Avengers, and at that point it's like, okay, well, he can direct it. Right? Like and he gets there at the end of the Incredible Hulk, where it's like, well, he can direct the Hulk. He can't control it, but he can point it in a direction. And then you get to Avengers, and like, yeah, in Avengers, it's like, okay, as long as I'm pointing it at the thing and consciously like hulking myself out, then we're okay. I can like control it to that extent. And then in Age of Ultron, we see that it's like not as reined in as we thought it was. Like he has the ability to direct it still, but it can also be set off. And if it's set off, it's uncontrollable and destructive. And if it's directed, then it's productive and like useful. And then with this one, now he's been in the Hulk for so long, the Hulk is actually becoming intelligent. The Hulk is now, like, the Hulk has control.
Yeah.
But, you know, it almost is fair to me that with Banner having been out of the equation for so long, that, like, his best bet is, like, okay, we're gonna do what I know how to do. I'm gonna direct the Hulk at a thing. And so he like just jumps out knowing that he'll turn into the Hulk and throws himself into the fight. And my hope is that now that, like, I mean, he's making a sacrifice in that scene because as far as we know, he's not going to turn back into Banner. But my hope is that now the discovery that will come out of that will be revealed next film, because we actually never see Hulk again at the end of the movie, is that he doesn't need to do that anymore. He actually can just now turn it on and off, because the Hulk is a character and Banner is a character, and being able to switch between them with a bit of control is like continues that arc of character growth. But it doesn't feel like a huge step away from that to me in the context of this film. But we totally never see him again after that fight. He goes to punch. Okay, that actually might be my favorite joke in the whole movie. Now that I'm thinking about it, where it's like, all right, we just need to let Surtur do his thing and destroy Asgard, and then you see the Hulk like roar towards Surtur, and he's just like, no. But Hulk smash! No, don't smash!
Yeah. All right. Well, that turned into a conversation when we were just supposed to talk about nitpicks, but that's okay.
Hey, it was a nitpicky conversation.
It was a nitpicky conversation. Okay, it's time to wrap this up. Where are you going to rank this one, Matt?
Oh, you're going to me first, hey?
You want me to go first? I know where I'm putting it.
Okay, if you know where you're putting it, go ahead.
Okay, I'm putting this at my number 5 spot. Just behind Iron Man, just ahead of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay. All right. Well, for me,
which was an easy. I honestly, this was probably one of the easier ones. I guess for a while there, I was toying with the idea of putting it ahead of Iron Man, but I think fundamentally, I still just really like Iron Man. And maybe I put too much weight into it because it's the first film and it's as important as it is, but that's just how my brain works. So that's probably just will stay there.
Yeah.
In and around that spot for at least a little while. So.
Yeah.
All right. So where do you put this one?
Easily the best Thor movie.
Yes. Oh, that's not even a question.
Yeah. Easily the best Thor movie. Better than Doctor Strange. I think I like it somewhere in and around Spider-Man Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I'm having a hard time placing it in relation to those. But I think I'm going to give it for quality of performance, production design, and like just overall likability. I think this is going in just below Iron Man, just above Spider-Man Homecoming for me.
Okay. So that is your number 7.
Yes.
It puts it at your number 7. So, as usual, we have pretty similar lists. Just in terms of, like, there isn't a lot. I think the furthest a movie away from each other is like, is there a single movie that's more than
3?
1 away? Or more than 2 away at this point?
Avengers Age of Ultron is 3 spots away.
2 spots away. Well, there's 2 in between it. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Age of Ultron is the biggest divergence.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. Well, there you have it. That will do it for this episode of Countdown to Infinity. A reminder, this one is going up. This is scheduled to go up on April 22nd. And we will be recording, for us, we'll be recording Black Panther in just a few moments. But you will be hearing that on the 25th of April. And then on the 26th, it's time to watch Infinity War.
Yeah.
And Matt and I will be going to the Late Show here in Victoria, and then we will be going directly back to the Loading Ready Run Moonbase, where we will live stream our final episode, at least for a while, of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. So, thank you everybody for tuning in and either watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes or wherever it is you listen to podcasts. We wouldn't be able to do this without your support over on Patreon, which is patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. We get to do what we do because you so generously support us. So if you are a supporter over there, thank you so much. And if you aren't, maybe think about checking it out. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. You can go over there and you could support us for $10 a month, $5 a month. You could do $1. You could do $100. Whatever you feel like our content is worth to you over the course of a month. And check it out. Down in the comments, you can find links to my Twitter, Matt's Twitter, the Loading Ready Run website. You can also find links to Matt's Twitch and YouTube channels. Matt streams every Sunday night.
Sunday night. Almost every Sunday night. Yeah.
Almost every Sunday night in the Pacific time zone. And you can check out his YouTube channel where he posts movie reviews, because this crazy madman goes and sees a movie every single week.
I do. And I'm almost up to date. I'm only one movie behind.
So next week your movie is Infinity War.
Yes. And
what's your movie this week?
So last week I saw Rampage, and that's the episode that is like waiting at the moment. I haven't recorded it yet. I will do that sometime this week.
What are you going to see this week?
This week,
there's only one right answer.
So this week is either going to be
nope, it's not either. There is one right answer.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to answer wrong then. I don't remember what's coming out this weekend, but the plan as it stands right this minute is to either see A Quiet Place or Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, both of those are the wrong answer.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
Dude, Super Troopers 2 comes out this weekend.
Oh.
What are you even doing with your life that you're not going to see Super Troopers this weekend?
I've only ever seen the first one once.
Yeah, and it's really good. And you should watch it again immediately.
Yeah,
because it's a very, very funny film.
I guess that's fair.
And I'm very excited about it. I'm sure it's going to be bad, but I am excited to go see it nonetheless. All right, that's it. We're done. Matt, thanks so much for hanging out and chatting.
Of course.
About Thor with me.
Anytime.
You want to do it again in like 3 minutes?
Well, I may need a little longer than that because I should go to the bathroom.
You have 3 minutes to go to the bathroom.
Cool.
Cool. All right. See y'all next week. All right, we're back.
Well, you didn't wait that one out. Jeez.
No, we got stuff to do, and I'm hungry. All right, let's get into this. We've got a mid credit and we've got a post credit.
And I can only remember one of them off the top of my head. Oh, I remember them both. Stuff. No, I remember them both. Okay. Mid credit.
Yeah. One is important. One is a little bit more of a goof.
Yeah.
Mid credit is the big one. They are interested. So it's them on the ship, basically saying something along the lines of everything's going to be okay from now on out. And then there's a massive ship, which has been confirmed to be, spoiler alert, I guess, which has been confirmed to be the Sanctuary 2, which is a ship that belongs to Thanos.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure I would not be surprised at all for Infinity War to more or less pick up from this scene.
Probably.
I would be I would bet good money that if it's not the first scene, then there's probably like a cold open, and then it goes to this.
Yeah. I mean,
would be my guess.
So we know from one of the trailers that was released that, like, Thor is found floating in space. So,
yeah,
things are probably not okay.
No, I mean, here's my guess for how Infinity War opens up. We get a cold open that is a flashback of why Thanos is the way he is. Because currently we don't actually know, like, in terms of like the MCU, we don't know a whole lot about Thanos.
That's right.
Right? So at some point there needs to be time taken away to tell at least a very short version of his story, and my guess is that is what's going to open the movie, and then we will go into him intercepting Loki and Thor and the Hulk and everybody else on that ship.
Right.
Is my guess.
Okay.
If it is, you owe me $100.
I do not owe you a cent.
If it's not, I will buy you a Coca-Cola.
I look forward. I look forward to my Coca-Cola.
Okay, so that means you accept the bet.
I accept the Coca-Cola.
Nope, you can't accept half the bet. You can't accept the bet, the half of the bet that benefits you.
Oh, I can. That's indeed.
Cheating. All right. And then there is the post-credit scene. It is the Grandmaster emerging from an
escape pod
ship,
kind of thing.
An escape pod. It's not really clear.
It doesn't matter
It doesn't matter or how he got to where he got. He comes out. He congratulates everybody on a fantastic revolution.
Yeah.
He says, you can thank me for that because you can't have a revolution without, revolting against someone, and that was me, so we'll call it a tie.
Yeah.
which is pretty good.
That's how revolutions work.
Yeah, I am hopeful that we see that character again, because I really like Jeff Goldblum playing that character. He was really good. So my hope is we get to see him again in the future, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
That's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you in a few days for the penultimate episode of Countdown to Infinity.
Until Ant-Man and the Wasp come out.
Yes, until Ant-Man and the Wasp come out. You kind of ruined the epic flow that I had going on there. Thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, it's in theme with this movie.
That's fair.